Can you tell us about the journey and the impact of your petition to change the Army's BMI determination? Because you had a big role. I think we just kind of talked about it, the changes you made. So tell us about that journey.
Yes, sir. Um, so what had happened was I was doing so there was one point in the Army, I don't know if you were in, but I think you should have been in at this point, where they were allowing females into combat MOS, and they were just coming up with ACFT, and it was
Yep.
based off of your MOS. It wasn't based off of, gender MOS. So if you're a female 11 Bravo, guess what? You have to do what 11 Bravo does, regardless of gender. It was gender neutral. And
Yep.
there was a young soldier. She couldn't get the deadlift. She was a 13 Bravo, a combat engineer, and she couldn't get the deadlift. So she started coming to the gym with me at 4 o'clock in the morning. We were training, and then she took the ACFT and she passed, but then
Nice.
she failed tape.
Oh.
And she's 19 years old. And so she came to me. She was crying. First, she was like, I passed my test. And I'm like, ah! And she was like, yeah, but I failed tape. Now, remember, at this point, the ACFT was just coming about. So you could fail as many diagnostics ACFTs as you want, but you still had to pass tape. So it's like,
Okay.
either I passed the ACFT or I failed tape. And I'm like, man, and she's 19. And I was like, and at this point, I'm like, I can have a daughter that's 19 years old. I understand that I have an eating disorder. I understand the bad relationship that I have with food, and we're changing uniforms, we're changing everything else. Why are we still going through this? And I've heard people complain about it for years, and nobody did anything. Everybody doing white papers. So I was in a council of people. It was a whole bunch of sergeant majors. I was the lowest ranking person in the room. And I asked the question, like, hey, are you allowed to do a petition in the Army? Because I'm like, I see it, but I'm like, nobody's doing anything. And they were like, yeah, you can, but you don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay. So my mind, I'm like, just because you couldn't do it, it doesn't mean
Mhm.
I can't do it. I asked, is it in regulation? Like, could I get in trouble for doing it? So I was like, okay, I can't get in trouble. I looked it up, I read about it, and I said to one of my friends, I said, you know what? Once I do this, I can't go back and I'll never get promoted again. And that is a sacrifice I'm willing to take. And so I started a petition. I put my face on it and I told my story. And I never said it was about females. I never said it was about African Americans. I never said anything. I said this is an Army issue, because it has been. I've known some high-speed Samoan soldiers. I've known some big, Caucasian guys. I've known some people that just curvy. So I started a petition, and it spread like wildfire. And, I was reading the comments on change.org, and I was watching it, and I was like, okay, this is good. This is good. But, once your name is out there and your face is out there, you have to be prepared for the backlash that comes with that. But my thing is we can all talk about a problem. It takes a different type of person to be a part of the solution. We can all talk. Everybody can say something that's wrong, but what are you going to do about it? And are you willing to fall on your sword for that? Because you have to have a purpose. I was like, but this is my purpose. This is what I want to do. And I said that I will retire once the Army changes this. And that's what it was. And they came out with a Frago. Once they came out with a Frago, they said that they were going to do the study at Fort Bragg, now Fort Liberty. I was going to PCS to Korea. I just got on IG orders, and they was going to PCS me to Korea. But by the time they were doing a study, I was going to be on PCS leave. So I spent my PCS leave at Fort Bragg because I wanted to be a part of the study. But I had all kind of people coming at me saying like, oh, you can't do that. It's only for soldiers at Fort Bragg. And I'm like, a soldier is a soldier. It doesn't matter where they come from. And but
What's the difference?
exactly. But that's what it was. A lot of sergeant majors coming for me. That's what I was getting. I was getting attacked from a lot of sergeant majors, and like being called a disgrace and all these other things. But the good thing for me, I had a brigade sergeant major, Shade Monday. He was my regimental, because I was in 3CR. He was my regimental sergeant major. He saw me on staff duty. He said, Sergeant Green, what are you doing? I said, this is what I did, sergeant major. He said, what is your goal? I said, my goal is to change it. He said, well, good luck. Thank you. That's it. And so once I spent my PCS leave at Fort Bragg, nobody at 18th Airborne Corps. That's what it is, right? 18th Airborne Corps. Yeah. They had published a Frago. They had published a op order, but then they had taken it away. And so nobody knew that the study was happening. So when I went to the study, and I went to the study the same day as Sergeant Major of the Army retired Grinston, because I had reached out to him. When I first did a petition, I reached out to him via Instagram, and I said, Sergeant Major of the Army, my name is Sergeant First Class Green. This is what I did. This is why I did it. Because I don't want you to misinterpret what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? Because people will try to paint a narrative of you like, oh, well, she hates the Army and all this. No, I'm doing this for soldiers. You say you want NCOs to have a backbone, you want them to stand up for soldiers. That's what I'm doing. This has nothing to do with me. I'm going to retire. But this is for those coming after me. I don't benefit anything. So I told him, he said, I respect what you're doing. Once he DM'd me and told me that, I don't care what anybody else had to say. He respects me. So when all these Sergeant Majors telling me that, hey, you can't show up to this study, I DM'd him again. Sergeant Major of the Army, am I allowed to be a part of this study? He says, for anybody. He said, I'll be there Tuesday. You can come in with me. And I came in on that same Tuesday, and we walked in together, and we got taped together, and we went through the entire study together. And so that's when I got on Facebook and I started yelling at everybody at Fort Bragg. I'm like, why y'all not out here? This is volunteer only, because it's volunteer only. So people were sending soldiers down there to participate in the study, but soldiers could say, I don't want to do it. Because they can't force you to go through this body scanner and all this. They can't force you to do that. But nobody told them that. And so that's when 18th Airborne came around, DM'd me, said, hey, can you just, then they posted it. And then they said, can you just share what we post? I'm like, baby, I don't care about credit. So I'll share whatever y'all post. But y'all should have done this already, so that way people will know about it. So when they did the town hall, they was talking about, oh, we want to thank 18th Airborne Corps. No, everybody that was a part of that study were calling me, hey, these are the demographics that we need tomorrow. I was using my social media platform while I was sitting at Fort Bragg on my PCS leave to say, hey, tomorrow we need Asians, we need Hispanics, we need National Guard, we need Reserve. If you're here, these are the demographics that we need. And every time I was sitting right there at the study, making sure that people were coming in. Hey, what demographic do y'all need the next day? And when they did the second study at Fort Lee, I was in Korea. I did the same thing, using my platforms. And that's when they were emailing me, say, hey, I don't know who you are, but thank you. And so that's why when I saw this, and these are the people that were in charge of the study. But of course, they're not going to give me credit for anything, which is fine. I don't care about credit as long as it changed. When your intentions are pure, you don't care about credit. But at the end of the day, facts are facts. So once it actually got done, and then they came out and it changed, I'm like, oh, everybody's like, oh, thank you, something. No. Keep the same energy that you had when I talked about it, because I'm telling you, I fought this for 3 years straight. 3 years straight, I was getting talked to like I was a piece of crap. 3 years straight, no matter how impeccable my records were, I knew for a fact that I was too out there. My name was too out there. I went against the grain, and you don't do that. You shut up and you color. You shut up and you Army. But at the same time, I had to think about what would Private Green need? You know what I mean? Like, how does that look if you sitting here and you doing the same exact thing 20 years later? You can't say that you love something and you don't try to make it better. And I said I love the Army, so my thing was to leave it better than I found it. And that's what I did.
Man, that's awesome. And now, because of your sacrifice, a lot of soldiers down the road can benefit you making that sacrifice for the Army. That's amazing. And we definitely applaud you for that. And thank you for your sacrifice and your service. So that's amazing.
Absolutely. There's nothing. I did what I was supposed to do.